Hello everyone and welcome to another series of videos. Actually, it's a brand new series of videos that I'm calling Mission Parameter because I like alluding to stuff, and you probably can guess what I'm alluding to. But recently on the Japanese side, if you're a global player, or maybe if you're a Japanese player who just has put this out of their mind because of how annoying this is, we've gotten a new series of missions here on the Japanese side, which basically reward you for getting characters up to certain high levels of stats, whether it be HP, MP, attack, or magic so far. So this series of videos is to help people on the global side get ready for these incoming missions, as well as for people on the Japanese side to know how to do these, because it's not quite so simple. First of all, it is whatever your unit enters within on stats when they go into the fight. You're not allowed to use buffs, you're not allowed to use friend units, so you cannot cheat these missions. Things would have been so much easier if we can cheat. But today we're going to be looking at attack, because attack is one of the more interesting ones out of all the ones you can be doing. And it's one of the ones that probably requires the most work to put into it, but it has an absolutely fantastic, amazing reward. And what is that reward? Well, it is a greatsword that is two-handed, but more interestingly, it has the holy element attached to it. Bahamut's Tear, which was a super TMR that had a really high level of attack, and the lightning element was given away last month for anyone lucky enough to get even 2 armed brims. But anyway, moving on. Let's not talk about that. But anyway, it was a very powerful weapon, and it allowed for some massive damage dealing with CG Hayu. Well, now we have this sword, which has the holy element to it, and the holy element is a very valuable element with so many strong holy debuffers now on the Japanese side. Plus, it's just an amazingly, awesomely, incredibly powerful sword. So getting your hands on it is really desirable. 160 attack. Still strong. So how the hell do you get this thing? Well, you have to build a unit that is not being buffed to basically get above 2,650 attack. If it sounds difficult, that's because it is. There is an easier level one, but we're not going to talk about that because honestly, most 7-star damage dealers can get to 1,600 fairly easily, and true dual hand even easier. So let's talk about the major units. Particularly, we're going to focus on 3 major units that are potentially really good to help you accomplish this task. Now, we'll talk about the easiest one first. The first and the most easy one to do this quest with is Cloud, because Cloud has the highest base attack for a true dual hand who just happens to be able to equip any sword, any accessory, basically anything. Because and of course I do not have a 7-star Cloud, so you're just going to have to follow along and pretend that you're, everything's fine. But in Cloud's kit, not only does he have some natural attack boosting, as well as true dual hand of 100% with his Vanguard, and his TMR, which just happens to be another 100% true dual hand, which is the best to date true dual hand you can get. And of course, equipping that with Cloud 7-star will also give you access to another 30% attack and 50% attack when true dual handing. Basically meaning that Cloud can get to 300% true dual hand very quickly, meaning that you can then focus on regular attack after. And since there are so many high attack materials currently on the Japanese side, well, basically Cloud is very, very easy. But there's another reason that Cloud is easy to get this with, or should I say easier. Now, Cloud's base attack at a level max 120 7-star is 204. Now, that's the highest in the game right now. And of course, in the near future, it will become easier because there will be future units that have higher base attacks. But of course, Cloud in his 7-star can also use an extra 65 attack pots, and that 1 point of extra attack makes a huge difference when you are trying to get to the 2650, because you need every single solitary attack point you can get your hands on. Now, of course, if we're talking about Cloud, the other thing that's really important for him, and one other unit that we're going to be talking about, is unfortunately his Super Trust Mastery. There's no two ways about it. Cloud's Trust Mastery here, his Ultima weapon, which is 180 attack greatsword with 50% accuracy, and who cares about the variants? Because really, 180 attack is all you need to really be worried about. It's super important for building him really high, and it's super important for building other units really high. Now, the second unit I want to talk about really quickly is CG Hayu. Now, CG Hayu, again, has a base of 203, so it's that 1 point lower than Cloud. And trust me, that 1 point hurts. That 1 point makes a difference. But both Cloud and Vincent and Cloud all have an extra 65 points that you can allocate to attack pots, which is just important for trying to get as much attack as you can get. Now, for instance here, I only have, sadly, the Lionheart, which is only 140 attack greatsword. So an extra 40 attack would put my CG Hayu considerably higher. And push him even closer. But even as a max attack version of CG Hayu, and pretty much scraping out every single point I can out of what I have currently, basically Preach's hat, CG Hayu's clothes, Elfried's TMR, Dash's TMR, one of Cloud's, one of Nalinaru's, one of Vincent's TMRs, and a Greatsword Mastery. The best I've been able to hit is 2373. And so even with a TMR heavy build, this quest is not even close to possible. It is impossible. I'm pretty sure that anyone can also double check, but regular TMRs just don't cut it. This is a super TMR quest, which will ultimately probably turn a lot of people off of it. But it is something to work at, and of course things get easier as the game goes on. I would imagine that in a few months time we will see an attacker with a 205 or a 206 base attack stat. Personally, I'm counting on the idea of Fire Veritas, or possibly a brand new limited time unit in some crossover from Brave Frontier, which will have a high attack greatsword as well. Probably. Or Orin. Orin is another possible unit in the near future that could be just easier to get this with. If Orin ends up being like Cloud, even with a 204, and he, okay, well, this is a long shot because it's probably going to be Orin and Jet being a max, the 5-star base units for the Final Fantasy X banner. Of course, if Orin was the only 5-star, that would be amazing, especially if there's a step-up banner. But in the future, it should be easier to get this quest done, because whether you're using CG Hayu or Cloud, both require essentially you to have a lot of at least Cloud's Super TMR, because you need that Greatsword for the 180 attack. It's super, super important. And while Preach's hat is 45 attack, there are a couple other hats, that are better, that do have some better attacks in the Super TMR. I'm pretty sure it's Eileen's Super TMR. And for clothing, a 28 attack is just not enough. Preferably, you'd want something with 40 attack, like Folan's Super TMR, or quite possibly as well Lunith, who has a very powerful 45 attack super TMR. For accessories, you cannot rely so much on Elfried. Elfried definitely has an amazing TMR, but its 40 attack stat is simply too low. You are better off having a unit that can that doesn't have to equip this and can just equip a higher attack statted accessory, like Arngrim's 55 attack stat accessory or Flamey's 50 attack stat accessory. But basically, you have to try and squeeze every single amount of attack you can get out of equipment, because for the most part, there really isn't that much difficulty getting to both 300% attack cap for, and I mean by both, true dual hand as well as regular attack. It's not that difficult for the top tier attackers to do that. Cloud is the easiest simply because he has a higher base attack stat than anybody else in the game right now, and his build is very friendly to just building a massive amount of attack. So honestly, Cloud is the easiest. He should be your #1 opportunity, if for no other reason than his regular TMR, but also for his super TMR. That 180 attack greatsword is almost essential for either him or CG Hayu. The reason I say almost essential is because Bahamut's tier or Lauren's 170 attack greatsword are both alternate options instead of having to rely on this. Now, interestingly, and there may be a few other units, but I've chosen to keep these videos relatively short to give you an idea about the attack parameter missions, but not necessarily going super high into detail about it. And so I want to talk about Vincent, because Vincent also has a 203 attack cap, or base attack, and a 65 attack stat, meaning that he is at least comparable to CG Hayu, except for a couple of things. First of all, with Vincent, you pretty much need his super TMR. There's only, I think, this gun in the game right now that has 175 attack, but it's very close and a good alternative to Cloud's TMR, super TMR. And technically, Vincent was on a fairly decent step-up banner where you could get multiple of him fairly easily. You know, a little bit of wailing, but still. The real advantage to Vincent over someone like CG Hayu is the fact that Vincent doesn't require to have a armor equipped. For CG Hayu, he is kind of limited, and I say that really trying to be generous, because CG Hayu's armor is one of the best attack stat in the entire game. But Vincent doesn't require anything other than his own TMR, which already happens to be a 60 attack. Mostly in Vincent's kit, he has more natural attack boosting and true dual hand than CG Hayu. At least the way that I've seen it makes him considerably another good option. For instance, I believe, and I've lost my math sheet that I did a while ago, but he has a lot of true dual hand in his kit, as well as a lot of regular attack. By sticking on some extra TMRs, it found that he's pretty easy to get up to both 300% as well, without having the problems that CG Hayu has of essentially needing to keep his armor. And by losing this, not only does he lose that 28 attack stat, he actually loses 30% in bonus attack from having a greatsword equipped. So by all accounts, especially for me, because I got a little, well, okay, I got very lucky with in the weapon raid with this one, but an extra 55 attack that I've been able to enhance his super TMR with. And that brings me to the last part, or one of the last parts, is the simple fact that even getting a super TMR isn't enough. You need to upgrade it in a weapon raid. The 2650 is a very seriously high thing that requires super TMRs very heavily. So in the near future, once we start getting super TMR Moogles, if Alum didn't forget about it or didn't change their mind and now they just don't want to do it, basically there will be, and this will get considerably easy, I think, in the future, but for now it is very difficult and requires a very specific build. But you may be asking yourself, is the weapon really that worth it? Is it really that worth it? Yes, 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 it freaking is. If you consider how strong CG Hayu is when you imbue an element to him, imagine if you didn't have to waste that turn imbuing the element with him. Imbuing. Anyway, imagine if you didn't have to waste that turn doing setup, if you could just consistently fire off damage more regularly. And consider the fact that Holy is just a fairly useful element, and one that recently it doesn't seem like too many trials are completely resistant to, although Thunder has definitely been the all-star recently. For people like me who miss getting Arngrim Super TMR, this new one does grant a new possibility for just doing insane amounts of damage. But, of course, it seems to be that mostly this is locked behind super TMRs, and an incredibly difficult task to, even if you have a ton of great units. So for me, I would love to be able to show off a build of Vincent, and maybe I will do that in the future after I have enough attack pots. Currently, I'm kind of well, I'm basically stuck waiting right now for the arena changes to happen before I can use some of my coins to get more attack pots. Also, what I need to be able to do is not that. I'm still needing to get both of Flamey's TMR because that 50 attack will be a big bonus for both of these characters. So yeah, for those of you on Global who are wondering about, well, how do I start doing this? Well, I mean, if you have 4 clouds, you're in a good spot already. You're getting very close to being able to do these missions. But have no mistake, these missions are super, super difficult. So I hope I've given you a little bit of insight into how to do these in the future. Oh, that is one other thing before we go. There is one other bonus, and I don't think I need to make mention of this, but for new players, something that does help is your friend reward level. So basically, every day you are graded on how many people use your unit. The more people that use your unit, the higher you get. Level 10 is the max you can get if you just have a ton of people using yours, which I'd like to thank so many people on my YouTube for using my friend unit every day. It keeps me very high. But I believe by getting up to level 10, you can get up to a max of an extra 27 attack for your units when you go into fight. And that makes a big difference. But for now, these 3 are kind of what I would consider to be some of the possibly easier, and I use easy with a particularly big asterisk around it, because the simple fact is you need super TMRs like this. You need incredibly high statted equipment that is just not available through regular TMRs. So that is all for this video. In the future, I would like to revisit it once I have my Vincent fully stat potted so I can show you the difference with the same kind of equipment between units with a little bit extra attack. But for now, kind of stuck waiting for stuff to happen. So that's all for now. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.